Welcome to AfricaCom TV here at the Village by KPMG at AfricaCom 2016 in Cape Town, South Africa. We're joined by Wesgro CEO Tim Harris. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
Thank you. You've been really busy today, involved in our AHUB. Have you had a chance to check out any of the other sessions between your speaking commitments?
Well, yeah, there's a whole focus on Africa in this session right now up at the AHUB, and it's really fascinating. We've always had a problem understanding exactly what's going on in the tech scene across the continent. It's clear that we're rapidly solving that problem, lots of surveys, lots of insights into what's going on. So a very informative session at the AHUB and a very dynamic floor here at AfricaCom, proving that it remains one of the most important international promotion opportunities for Cape Town when the international telcos gather in Cape Town to think about their business.
That's great to hear. We love collaborating with the City of Cape Town. You spoke in your panel discussion about where the biggest tech hub in Africa is, and with South Africa having the largest number of tech hubs on the continent, would you consider Cape Town the tech capital city, as it were?
Yeah, we're pretty proud of the scene in Cape Town. We think it's probably the biggest in many ways. Any city that wants to even go down the road of becoming a tech hub for a region or a continent probably needs to answer three questions. You need to make sure you have the skills required, and no city on the continent can compete with the skills pipeline at the universities around Cape Town. But you also need to be able to bring in skills from elsewhere, and that's one of the lessons from Silicon Valley. San Francisco is a super attractive place for young people, and they've managed to pull in a lot of talent because of that. And I think there are many beautiful cities on this continent. One of the successes of Nairobi, I think, has been the quality of life. But I think we're proud in particular of the quality of life in Cape Town, and the appeal we have as a tourist destination leverages in a way into this ability to attract young people for the tech sector too. And then lastly, you need infrastructure. You need to be able to connect from your city, and the City of Cape Town in particular has played a very key role in building out the largest open access fiber network in Africa, 1,000 kilometers of municipal-owned fiber under the ground in the streets of Cape Town that has taken us from one of the worst connected cities to now competitively connected with the rest of the world.
So just having a look at the progress and where you've gotten to, what were some of the key challenges that you've had to overcome in getting there, and what do you see as some of the milestones you still need to reach to be a fully realized kind of a tech hub or someone that is a major player in tech innovation?
It's a great question. The infrastructure around connectivity was a big hurdle that had to be overcome, and the good news is there's been massive progress in recent years. I think now in terms of data speeds and data pricing, we're fairly competitive with the cities we're competing with around the world. I think we've got 60% of the VCs in South Africa are based in Cape Town, and that probably makes us the leader on the continent. But of course, you can always do with more funding, and I think we need a regulatory reform in that front. Exchange controls remain a big barrier to global VCs operating in South Africa, and if we can reform that and grow the size of the financial sector focused on startups, then I think we've probably answered the major questions in terms of being able to bring skills, have quality infrastructure, and be able to finance your startups to be a leading tech hub on a global basis.
Fantastic. And looking at leading tech hubs then, you've got loads of examples, the Silicon Savannah of Nairobi, just the Silicon Valley, which is the flagship, I suppose. In what way do we look to those as good examples in forging a path towards being a tech superpower, as it were? And to what degree do we actually just have to find our own way and forge a path that is unique and best for the Western Cape and South Africa as a whole?
Yeah, you're right. There's a great disadvantage to naming yourself Silicon anything, because people assume that you want to replicate Silicon Valley, and clearly there will never be that mix of assets and circumstances that will create Silicon Valley anywhere else in the world. The advantage of calling yourself Silicon something is that it's very clear what you're trying to do. So for us, we looked at the benefits and the costs, and the tech community in Cape Town decided to come up with this brand, I think because it signals our ambitions. Now, obviously, it's going to be different here as it will in any hub around the world. But the important thing is there are going to be regional hubs, In the same way that San Francisco pulls in talent from around the world and capital from around the world to fund their tech ecosystem, there are going to be regional hubs in southern, eastern and west Africa. I think you see Nairobi in the east, Accra in the west, Cape Town in the south, beginning to develop that status, and there'll probably over time emerge a continental tech hub, and we believe Cape Town's competitive for that status.
Wonderful. And I want to talk about Wesgro's work here with regards to forging good relationships within trade and industry, but specifically on a tech level and an innovation level. Can you talk about a little bit about your work, your key priorities in this space, and how you've seen your work come to fruition?
Sure. So Wesgro is a government agency. We were funded by the provincial government here in the Western Cape and the city government in Cape Town, and our job is to promote the Cape economy. There's two big opportunities that we see. The one is to connect Cape Town to the rest of the continent and the world. And we're working specifically on flight connectivity because we believe there's the potential, given the lifestyle in Cape Town, the skills pipeline, the quality of infrastructure, to become a business hub for the continent. But the last piece we need to solve for is connectivity. So we're working on non-stop flights. In the last year, we've worked on 9 new or expanded flights to Cape Town. That represents 400,000 new airline seats in a year. So we're rapidly solving that connectivity issue. But really connecting with flights and in terms of the open-mindedness to the rest of the continent from Cape Town businesses is the second opportunity. Positioning Cape Town as a truly African city where you can easily run an African business, think about Africa's challenges and how to solve them from right here in Cape Town. So the focus of connectivity on the one hand and then positioning ourselves as unashamedly African are the two big things we're working on right now. And obviously having the emerging tech hub for Africa here in Cape Town is a great way of achieving both of those objectives.
Great. And can you share with us a couple of examples how you've seen in Cape Town specifically how tech has been able to enable business?
Yeah. Okay, so in Cape Town we've historically had the heart of asset management on a continental basis is here, the big asset managers are here, and I think that's played a key role in the emergence of the fintech ecosystem here. Financial skills in Cape Town, they've been able to convert into growing a strong fintech cluster. Retail's traditionally been here, the biggest retailers on the continent are in Cape Town, and we have this huge e-commerce cluster emerging. The biggest e-commerce players in Africa are here. We've seen the same happen in edutech on the back of our universities, travel tech on the back of being the leading tourism city on the continent. It's a big driver of the Cape Town tech scene is the traditional sectoral strengths. So that's probably the most practical way where Cape Town's traditional business strengths have translated into new economy businesses.
It's exciting. It's exciting times for the province. And you also mentioned in an interview that twice as many young people visit Cape Town on average globally.
Yeah.
How do you see the role of young people because of your involvement with the startup community here at the AHUB? How do you see it developing and growing and being able to enable tech innovation in the coming years?
So this idea of a hub is important, not because technology and the way it's affecting markets can be really bad for jobs. It can create lots of social challenges, but if you are a hub and position yourself as an attractor of talent and of capital in particular, then the benefits for your city are obvious. So San Francisco is the best example. You had a city that was an attractive city for young people, strong universities, and they managed to leverage those things because of a variety of reasons into creating now the laboratory for the biggest companies in the world. The important thing about being a hub is that you can emulate that. You can bring capital and skills into your city and really drive growth in your city. And that's the benefit of this competition between certain cities on the continent for hub status. And we believe if we play our cards right in Cape Town, that we can suck in that capital and suck in that talent. But that talent's going to be young people. They're going to want to be studying at your universities. At any point in time in Cape Town, we've got 11,000 people from the rest of the continent studying at our universities. That's a huge advantage for us. But also because we're on the tourism map for young people around the world, it's a great way to say, come to Cape Town as a tourist and maybe stay to join a startup or start a startup. So we think that gives us a big advantage in this race to become a regional and perhaps continental hub for startups and tech.
It's great. It's exciting times, especially with regards to youth development. So it's great to see that there is something on the horizon, and it's going to flourish pretty shortly. But looking now to the future, knowing what you know about what's brewing, what's happening, the developments that are being made with regards to investment, especially in tech and telco, where do you see Cape Town? What do you envision for Cape Town and the Western Cape in, say, 5 years' time with regards to where they'll be standing on the world stage with regards to tech and innovation?
It's a great question. I think not many people realize that the largest media company in the world outside of the USA and China is a Cape Town company. We've got Naspers here. They've gone properly global. They're building a lot of technology and new platforms all around the world. But I think we'd really like to see Naspers bring some more of that development home and really grow the Cape Town presence, because it's a key part of the tech ecosystem in the Cape, is this pillar that Naspers is at the heart of it. We've also had global multinationals like Amazon really commit to the Cape in a big way. Thousands of people in their call center. But more importantly, they've done a lot of the development for EC2, which powers the Amazon cloud, right here in Cape Town. And we're having very interesting conversations with Amazon and other multinationals about building more out of Cape Town. So I think the thing that I'm looking to see in the next 5 years is the institutional base grow on the back of the corporates, homegrown corporates like Naspers, global corporates like Amazon and Oracle and IBM. And I think that will really provide a big spur to the entrepreneurship that's emerging in the tech space. And if we can get that institutional corporate base growing at the rate that we're seeing the entrepreneurship growing, then I think we will become the clear leader in as a tech hub for the continent and perhaps for the emerging world here in Cape Town.
We look forward to seeing it. Thank you so much for joining us, Tim.
Thanks.
Thank you. Cheers.